online visibility plays a huge role in promoting our businesses. But when you're starting out, where do you start? What's important? What should you prioritise? In this video, I chat with brand designer Laura Robinson, mindset coach Danie Evergreen, and we welcome Yellow Tuxedo's Emily Braithwaite to share her expert knowledge on the foundations for your online visibility. I'm Laura Bean, and this is Creative Little World.
Today, we have brought in a digital visibility expert, one half of Yellow Tuxedo, the ring mistress to the digital circus, Emily. Yay, welcome, our first guest.
I like that. I've never used ring mistress before. I'm going to keep that.
It's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was perfect because that's what you are. You are the ring mistress of the digital circus. And obviously the digital visibility expert that you are. So the first question I'll kick us off with, for someone who's starting out on their entrepreneurial journey or in the early stages of their business, what are the key foundations that they should have in place for a really strong digital presence?
What a good question. You use foundations as well. It's like you knew that's my buzzword at the moment. I was thinking about this question before we hit record, actually, and there is what we call best practice and what we actually will do, and there's a big difference, because when you're starting out in business, most of the time, you are on a budget or you haven't got that audience yet, and you are piecing it together, because whether you're transitioning from a full-time job into doing it by yourself, or you've got a little bit, it's quite a tricky time to understand all those moving parts of your business, especially when visibility isn't necessarily top of your tree. It's getting, what's my job? What do I do? How do I talk to my customers? All of those things. So it gets really tricky. So what usually happens is we piecemeal it all together with the limited knowledge in our head, and then we kind of reverse engineer it as we go on. And actually, if we all just stood and worked on those foundations first, it makes life a lot easier. So in terms of foundations, what do we need by that? So when people hear visibility, the first thing most people will kind of grab is social media. And, why wouldn't we? It's an easy access for all of us to pick up our phones and start doing something. But the truth is, social media is just a small, tiny part of what is a much larger scheme of work there in terms of you being truly visible. So I think it's about getting your ducks in a row and understanding from the very start, what is your business? Who are you? What are you leading with? What's your brand name? What's your business name going to be? Rather than kind of picking something straight away and going, I'm going to do that. And then 10 weeks later, you do a rebrand. Laura, I'm looking at you. How many rebrands have you ever done in your life?
Quite a lot.
Quite a lot. And thinking really sensibly about that route to your business. So what are your domain names going to be? Is that an obvious choice? Are your social media handles going to be the same across the board with whatever platforms you're choosing to be on? Is it easy to understand that they're with the right people at the right time? Understanding that your website, whether you truly believe in having a website or not, is a central part of what you do and is a shop window to your business. So with understanding of visibility, we are looking at the words on the page, Laura, it's important. We're looking at the messaging, we're looking at the imagery, your brand as a whole on there. But actually, probably more important in the early stages is the black and white text side of it. Is it working? You always think about, you want to watch a TV in the evening, you want to watch a film, you want to put Netflix on. You can't watch the darn thing without putting the power lead in the back of it. If you haven't got the power lead in, you're just watching a black screen. It's exactly the same in terms of your website. It's not plugged into Google. It's just a blank screen. And I think understanding that level of what you need to do, even if it's not comfortable to you, is really important to start off with, in my opinion.
Yeah, I love that. I love that metaphor as well.
TV.
In.
Oh, we don't. Sorry, Laura.
That's all right. So would you say, like, actually defining what you're selling is like really important? Because from my point of view as a brand designer, we look at kind of what actually is you're physically selling, not maybe the product, but are you selling time? Are you selling convenience? Are you selling, an action or an outcome? And actually thinking about from your client's point of view. So rather than looking at it like, I've just started a business, this is my name, look at actually what are people searching for? What are people actually wanting from you, and getting down to the nitty gritty of it before even looking at your brand, before even looking at like your SEO or, your copy or anything like that. So do you think people miss that?
Absolutely, we do, and I understand why we do, because we get excited really quickly, and ultimately we want to save you the time of having to do everything over again and being confused and overwhelmed by it, and actually spending that time to really define that. It's going to help you if you're on social media, you're not wasting your time on social media. You know who you're speaking to, you know what it is what that route to market is going to be for you. You know what that customer journey should be. That helps you to understand when you've got that in your hand ready to go. When you're looking at the customer journey on your website, it becomes clear. You can start to see those pages that need better copy on. You can start to see what kind of campaigns you want to create in terms of building that buzz around your product or service, or that end result that you're going to achieve. When you're in that first part of your business, you haven't got the testimonials yet. You haven't got the customers through the door, but you sure as hell can start working on that feeling, that emotion, that solution, that pain point, whatever that's going to be, and really spending some understanding. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time.
Yeah, and because I work, obviously one of my jobs as a copywriter is to sort of get in with clients and rummage through their brain, as I put it, to find out, what it is they're trying to get across. And especially in those early stages, I think when you've got a new business and a great idea and you're feeling passionate and excited about it, it's really getting clarity on what your audience is going to understand. Because if you've got, so especially more something that maybe is a bit more technical, like working out the jargon and having that really clear messaging. Because if you go out and start shouting about something that people just don't get, or it's not resonating with them, then you're instantly going to hit a brick wall, because you're not making it clear what it is you offer.
The jargon's the big thing, isn't it? And this is what we always teach, is one of the first things within the digital circus, is that, stop leading with your elevator pitch. That's great. I love it. I love it how fancy it is. You sound incredible when you're in your networking meetings, but your customers aren't in your networking meetings, and they have no bloody clue what that is you do. So talking on their level with the language they understand. We talk about online visibility. I know full well that not many people will be searching for an online visibility specialist to help them with their business. They're probably going to be looking at digital marketing experts and things like that. We're not digital marketing experts or agency, but I know that's how I can almost bring them into the fold a little bit, because that's tangible for them. It's when we then get to the next level of conversation or bring them further into our inner circle, that's when we educate and inform and change those opinions about what they could actually get from working with Yellow Tuxedo.
That's cool. And Danie, obviously it's all excitement at the beginning. Everyone's really, hyped for it. But as soon as the hard work starts, everyone kind of drops, don't they?
Yeah, I think it's that you go excitement, and then overwhelm, and then, oh my God, this is hard work. What do I do? And it's very easy to end up not doing anything, because you just kind of panic. And I think that's where having someone like Yellow Tuxedo, where you can get that guidance to actually help you, or working with a copywriter, working with a brand designer, so that you're not just trying to figure it out. Because yes, when we start, a lot of us don't have a lot of money, so we can't always afford to pay someone to do everything in our business. But also a lot of people then fall into the trap of not paying anyone to do anything and trying to do it all ourselves. I've definitely learned the hard way with that. And then actually that just becomes overwhelming and not actually doing the thing that you want to do. So I think it's really important to remember why you started the business, and why you do what you do, and keep coming back to that. Because then when you're thinking about how you help people, why do you do that? What has drawn you? What's your story? And that, I think, is a good thing that you can then start to share. We all have a story. Whatever, even if you're brand new to your business, everything you've done before has brought you to where you are. So that's the kind of things that people connect with. But it's very easy to forget that when we start getting, all the tech stuff, and it can be very overwhelming. So I think just coming back to the reason you started helps to keep that motivation going, because it's a reminder that there is an end goal, and you will get there. Even when it feels like there's a million one things to do, because there'll always be something else. And that's just life, outside of business as well. There'll always be more to do. But actually just remembering that there's a reason that you started this journey.
Yeah. And I think with that startup mentality, though, you're very enthusiastic, which is a good trait to have. I'll always be enthusiastic. But with that and that kind of sense of, if I'm not going to pay for it, then I'm going to self-learn or whatever that is, you end up overwhelming yourself, because you just watch and learn everything from a million and one different experts again, who may or may not even be an expert. Oh my God, I called out 3 this week. I was in a right old bad mood. I'm quite a positive business, right? And Alan always tells me if I'm on it's the moon cycle. It's a full moon this week. Just in case anyone believes in that, I do. Full moon this week, and literally they got me on the worst day ever, and had 3 experts who all offered to help me, and I called them out on all of their BS 3 times over, because like, no, that's enough now. One of which was an email marketing specialist trying to get someone on their email accelerator program, with this massive first email she sent me going, you're one of the most engaged in the group, you're super special. Remember all of that text copy, Laura, honestly, you'd be and it was like, oh wow, I've not opened a single one of your email thread, but great to know I'm the most engaged. And right at the very end was, oh, by the way, I'm sending this to everyone on my email list, the first 5 to get you. I was like, well, you've just completely, what am I special? Am I not special? And I'm like, you're an email specialist. This should be, and I emailed her to say, oi, no. And then she went, oh, rookie error. I didn't check it before I sent it. I'm like, again.
Well, yeah, and especially when that is your service.
For a rookie, for a startup, when you get drawn into the glamour and that you can do this and you should do this, it's easy to make those mistakes and following people like that, and then wondering why you get overwhelmed when you're not getting the results, or doing this and then doing this program and doing that program. It's an easy way to kind of snowball. And then when you have to reverse engineer it to kind of fix the things that are broken, you spend a lot of time, money and energy having to fix that as well. It's just catch-22.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? Because there are so many shiny objects out there to play with, and it's everyone's got there's a lot of advice as well, but it's got to be right for you and your business, isn't it? And that's, I think, especially in the way things are now, like you say, you've got experts out there, and it's, if you follow their advice and it's not right for you or your audience or your business, then you're not going to get very far, and it's frustrating.
And you do listen to so many different people, and you get so many conflicting information about, how to get consistent on your social media, or how to hit your SEO targets, or how to steal your competitors' keywords, and you can put them into ChatGPT and it'll give you your own blog on it and you'll beat them on Google. And it's great listening to everybody, but you've got to action. You've got to action. And I hate the saying fail forward, but you've got to fail and fail again and learn from each one, and see it as prototype number 1 and keep going as an entrepreneur, because so many people do give up.
Isn't it? Test and measure it. That's the thing. It's try it, see if it's for you, and try all the different social media platforms and see which one's for you. And a lot of it is where your audience is, isn't it? This is, I think I saw a conversation on LinkedIn, Emily, that you were having, and it was about using different forms, so video and podcasts and things. And I haven't got around to replying yet, but one of the things for me was a bit like what you were saying felt like so right. And the different formats, there's different ways that people consume information, but really we've got to do what's right for our audience, don't we? So even if you're not sometimes it means putting yourself out there in a bit more of a uncomfortable situation, like video
doing the thing.
But yeah, it's
that was right. That was an interesting conversation. I always, I'm very mindful when I put comments on those type of threads, because I am aware that a lot of people are more sensitive to that. I'm very much a doer, right? That's just my personality, and whatever buzzword you want to put in for the moment right now, I just get shit done. And I enjoy doing that. And I have no issue. We were talking about just in the digital circus this morning, actually, in Acrobat, a lady going, but I had my hair done. I didn't like my hair and I didn't want to press record. And I'm like, I get out of the shower. My hair's wet, man. Because ultimately, if it's in my head and I feel it's in the moment needs to be said, then I can't wait 3 days for it to be like better lighting or whatever. It just has to be said. So, we have to be uncomfortable doing those things. But at the same time, everyone's different. Not everyone has their strengths and weaknesses, and doing those level of activities may be really, really uncomfortable. There will be other things you can do to kind of counterbalance that. So yes, what I loved about your conversation the other day was that you can't shop for yourself. You may not read blogs or watch videos or insert other medium. other people will, and we can't capture all 8 billion people. But, you know, some people will read those blogs. Some people will watch that video. And I think meeting them where they're at is a much better kind of experience. And those things that you're uncomfortable with, like doing video, you may never press the record button ultimately. I can't make you press the button. You have to do the button. Laura Robinson, dude. 3 years ago, we did a video together where literally Laura had to go for some confidence coaching with our lovely friend Chris to get a mindset ready to go on the video because she was shaking like a leaf. You know, look at you now. You're presenting on a 3-way or 4-way conversation this week. It gets better with time and doing things. So, like, what do you want to do? Do you want the boat to go faster? Do you want to stay where you are right now? At some point, something's got to shift. At some point, you have to do the thing personally.
So, Danie, is that like putting skin in the game, or how do you get over that nervous, like frightened stage in your being an entrepreneur?
Doing it. Exactly. You know what Emily was saying. A lot of people go, but I haven't got the confidence. Haven't got the confidence to do video. The way you get more confident doing video is doing video. I know, I get it. It's scary, but actually, you know, record the video and don't post it. That's fine. You know, just get used to recording videos. Record it and send it to one friend. You know, send it to someone that you trust. Just start off small and do the things that you can cope with doing. And then over time, those things aren't such a big deal. I wrote a post about this yesterday. You know, I've just tasked one of my clients with failing more because we worked around a fear of failure. And I was like, right, now I want you to go and find ways of failing more. I want you to go and put yourself in situations that are uncomfortable in your career, in your social life. Just do things you wouldn't normally do. You know, nothing that's really, really awful or scary, nothing that's risky, just something that is a bit scary and a bit different. And just get used to that idea of it's okay to be uncomfortable, because we are used to our comfort zones, and you do have to do something different if you want different results. And when you're setting up a business, that's probably going to be loads of new things. And there'll be certain things that feel okay, and there'll be certain things that you go, oh, that's not for me. And there's a balance, you know, sometimes it's like, well, that isn't for me. So actually getting a specialist to do it is the right thing. Or, okay, I'm going to focus on blogs to start with because that feels achievable and I know I can be consistent. Great. Do something, get started. But actually at some point, if you want to get the results, you're probably going to have to do some of those things that aren't comfortable. So give it a go, try it, learn from the experience, and then, you know, get support in whatever way that is, whether that is some coaching for your mindset, whether that is some support from someone who's got the technical skills, whether that's someone who, you know, copywriting, branding, whatever it is. But you've got to do something. You can't, it's the action that actually helps us to feel better about things.
I watched I shared it on our stories on Instagram this week. It was a great guy from some entrepreneurial kind of whiz kid, but it was that doing the thing kind of thing. What is doing the thing? Like planning isn't doing the thing, thinking about doing the thing isn't doing, and it went on and on for about a minute of things that are not doing the thing. And the doing thing is literally taking that action. And it can be that action, it can be that action, it can be that action. It doesn't really matter, but those micro steps go a long way into kind of getting you to that end result. And your end result, and this is something I've learned a lot since working with all of you guys as well, is so different for everyone. There are people who do want to be on a global stage, being on TED Talks and being like the world leader in whatever they're talking about. Brill. I love that. I love that drive. There are other people who just want to make 5 sales a month. And that's totally fine too. But even to take that step to get 5 sales a month, you still have to have conversations. You still have to put yourself out there. You still have, as Danie said, that discomfort is such a good feeling to get used to, because you would have done it in your employment days at some point, the jobs that you don't particularly like, but you still have to do it because otherwise you're not going to get paid by your boss. You know, you still have to go to those board meetings. You still have to stand in a shop and talk to your customers, and all those icky things that you don't always want to do. You would have done it then. The difference is it's self-responsibility now. It's on your shoulders. And if you don't do it, you're not getting paid, and you want to get paid. There's a reason you've gone into business for yourself. And ultimately, whether it's, you know, we're all driven by finance or not, we want to, like I said earlier, pay for our kids' shoes and pay the mortgage and all those things. That's day-to-day life. So do what you need to do.
Plus the goal the goal and the incentive is to get to the point where you're bringing enough money in to outsource the bits you don't like. And that's the beauty, is that from the beginning you have to be, you have to be in the mud and actually do the work yourself. And then eventually at some point, hopefully you'll be at a point where, and if you choose to, like some people don't, like I quite like doing a lot of the stuff myself, but there are benefits to outsourcing it. And if you want to get to that position, sometimes you do have to crawl through the mud first, don't you?
Yeah. And I think when you're outsourcing, and this is something we've always stood by, you just need to know what you want that person to do. Coming back to what Laura said earlier about, you know, that clarification about what it is you do and what your end result is, being able to articulate that clearly and concisely to the person you're paying money to, you know, ultimately, they have to get it right for you, because otherwise you're going down a rabbit hole of, you know, that person's tone of voice isn't reflecting the business, or, you know, they're doing stuff for your SEO and your website because that's what you're told to do, and they're not doing what they need to be doing on your website because you have no idea, you know, what is that clarity if you're in your vision to go, right, I'm at a point where I can outsource that now, but you're going to do X, Y, Z for me because this is what I need the support with, not going, I'm told to pay for an SEO specialist, go forth, you know, do whatever you need to do. Don't do that.
You do hear a lot of kind of, not horror stories, but people wasting money on a lot of things like that. The way you just think, was that your fault, or was it the person that you hired's fault? Because sometimes they're so new, they instantly outsource any kind of visibility work or anything, and they end up not with the right clients or not with anything to show for it. So that's a big issue, especially for entrepreneurs. They try and jump many steps. You've kind of got to do the work and get to know your audience, your people first before you start outsourcing. So what's something we've all done to be like more visible? For Laura, I know you do quite a bit of networking.
Yeah, networking's always been a big thing for me. In person and online. So I've been to a lot of sort of networking events, not always in the idea of that they're my audience to sell to. Sometimes it's to, you know, gather information, like learn from other people, collaborate, you know, get to know other business owners. And then other times it is for, you know, to promote my services. It's not a harsh sell, but I found that networking has been quite a big one for me, especially locally. Get your name out there. Obviously I know not everyone likes doing networking, but I think if you go with the mindset that you're not there to do a hard sell, you're just there to have conversations and meet people, and those conversations will naturally, you know, roll on to whether you can help each other in a working environment. So yeah, it's quite a big one for me. I quite enjoy it, which helps.
What about you, Danie? What have you done to be more visible?
Yeah, networking as well. I think for me, it's very much about building those connections. And I think, you know, when we hear the word networking, especially if you're new to it, that can seem quite scary, and you feel like you've got to have the elevator pitch. And actually, really what you're doing is having a conversation with someone. And that's something that we all do all the time. So just getting more comfortable with sharing what you do, who you help, how you help them, and having those conversations in all sorts of environments, you know, social environments, business environments, networking, because often there'll be people in your kind of existing close network that may know someone who would like to work with you. So just being really confident in sharing, you know, who you are and what you do is a really great way of improving that visibility, especially when you're starting out. And just, having conversations with people, because you either learn something for yourself, or you maybe can help someone with something that will help them. And I really believe that kind of all comes around. So it might not be that you're selling your service, but you might be able to help someone with something today, and they'll help you with something in the future.
And it builds up your kind of visibility muscle, doesn't it? A bit, networking, talking to strangers, learning how to actually talk about your business, and finding the right people. So I think networking is a huge one. Obviously, we've all done it online quite a bit. Getting back to face is a bit nerve-wracking for me, because obviously I don't like it, but I do it, and I'm getting better at it. The first time I stood up and did my pitch was so nervy. I don't even think I actually said what I did.
I don't even know what I do.
But I just think it's getting that muscle. And the same with social media, you know, putting your face on social media, getting a structure, getting consistent at it. You know, it's took time, but, you know, it's something I know I need to do. LinkedIn is the next one that I'm hitting. So it's just getting your name out there, you know, learning as you go along. You're going to learn every time. You're going to make mistakes, and it's just getting used to the fact that, you know what, it's not going to be perfect.
Yeah.
And I think that's it, isn't it? It's getting started is the big hurdle. And that, you know, I think a lot of people spend too much time trying to make things perfect before they start. Whereas actually it's, you know, just start posting. And I quite often see it on LinkedIn where, you know, the post will be, oh, I haven't posted in ages, or, you know, oh, I'm new to LinkedIn or something like that. And it's like people really don't need to know, or they don't actually really care. Like just post, you know, you're informative or helpful or educational, whatever, you know, you're going for, but just start. And it's that first hurdle, isn't it?
I think we tend to think that people are looking at us in so much more detail, and we worry about being judged. But
I judge you every day, Danie.
Right. But you know what? Like, most people don't care. Like,
No,
in the
they
nicest
don't.
possible way, if you're doing something that helps people and they get something out of it, or they find it interesting, they'll comment and they'll respond. Other people will just scroll by. Like, you'll get very few people that will take the time to make a negative comment, and that's about them. But that's not about you. But actually, you know, majority of people are not sitting there judging you. They don't care what your hair looks like. They don't care if your makeup's done. You know, they're not thinking how many times you said in your sentences. We see all that stuff because we critique ourselves harsher than anyone else does. So I think sometimes as well, just remembering that all the little flaws that you're picking out, no one else is seeing them.
Yeah. I have one other thought on networking. It's always the elephant. I think there's a very distinct difference between networking and not working. And I put a post out about this the other day as well. And I think it's networking is incredible, and we know all of us need to do networking and have those trusted people around as well. And depending on what your business is, that could be geographic centric, or if you're global, you know, we need to look wide in that as well. And I think so many people can confuse networking with, I'm going to go to 1,000 meetings this month and do all of this. I'm going to sit there because I feel like I'm doing work, because I'm working on my business. And I'm like, that's great, fantastic. But if you're doing that, are you building those connections? Are you following up? Are you moving that forward as well, those relationships that you're building? Or are you just sitting on a Zoom, if you're on a online one, and just ticking the box to say, I've done that in my business today? And then you've got to think about, for some businesses, that works perfectly, especially if you are looking for a couple of clients or you're looking for those referrals. But again, if you are a global business, and we all have the ability to be, if we have a product-based business that could serve people outside of, for us, Hampshire, you know, if we could do that, fantastic. So you need to think about those next steps. And that's where, going back to what we teach with the ecosystem model, is if someone meets you on a networking call and they like what they see, what's their next logical step? If you haven't got your shipping order with your website or your LinkedIn or whatever that is looking like for your business, or that flow of traffic to what they need to do next, or your sign up, whatever it is, you're still losing that opportunity to grow bigger. And I think, going to lots of meetings is fabulous. Having a lovely cup of tea and having a chin wag and talking about the weather, brilliant. But you have to have a purpose to why you are networking, regardless of whether it's to find people to support you, to refer you, or to sell to as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that goes across anything, doesn't it? It's actually making sure there's a purpose to it. Like, you know, someone said to me, you know, should be on TikTok because, you know, you'll get loads of views on TikTok. And so I started putting some videos on, and yes, they got lots of views. And I haven't ruled it out. It might well serve its purpose. But at this moment, I'm like, okay, well, but what do those views mean? Are they actually going to lead into work, or, you know, with some sort of purpose? Am I going to be able to sell to this audience at some point? And I think that's something for me, especially this year, that I'm really conscious of, is making sure that everything I do has a purpose, or it's all at least pointing towards the end goal in some form, and being really strict with yourself, because I really like that networking or no working, because I think that is it. Just because you're going to a networking event doesn't mean you're doing anything particularly right for your business. It might be the completely wrong event to be at, your audience aren't there, or you're not going to get, you know, the help and support from it either. So just making sure everything that you do does have a purpose, because I hate to think how many hours I've probably wasted over the years on stuff that really wasn't going to benefit the business.
Yeah, so if you do networking, like follow up with the people you meet, email them, you know, have a conversation on socials with them, you know, keep a track of what you've said. Like, I hate to say it, but I actually have a bit of an Excel document, and I'm like, right, are they an amber, are they a green, or are they a red, like, that I've met? Do I think they are, you know, suitable for, you know, to keep the conversation going? And it sounds harsh, but I mean, this is my business. This is, you know, this is not my friend's network. Some people have become friends because they're on a similar path as me, and it's really great to find your group of people that you can chat to when, you know, things go wrong or when you've got ideas. But some of them are purely just because, do I think I could be a customer of theirs, or do I think they could be a customer of mine? And it's just, you know, in the future, do you think we'll work together? And yeah, I do actually have a bit of a spreadsheet of people that I think, you know what, I'd love to work with them. They'd be a dream client. You know, I'm going to keep following their path and see what happens in their business, and keep rooting for them, and maybe something will come of it, maybe not. But it's just making sure that your network of people aren't just people that want free stuff off you, that are going to waste your time, that you're going to end up sitting talking to and not actually getting on with your own work. Because if you're like me, you've got a few hours a day to get stuff done before the kids come home.
Earlier, if it's our house, because the phone's ringing. Oh, damn it, it's the school again. What do you need now?
So looking forward, what are people thinking for them to do more digital visibility? What are we aiming for? Do we think this year is going to be big for us to get more visible and more eyes on our businesses? What are we all doing? Danie?
I'm going to be doing more videos this year. So it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time, but hasn't been a priority for various reasons. So yeah, just more videos and more opportunities to share useful tips with people. And I just think that conversation that Emily was having on LinkedIn the other day, I think video is a really good way of people being able to see your personality. And if you're going to work with someone, particularly if you're working with people online, if you're going to work with someone new, you want to get a feel for, is this someone that I like? You know, is this someone that I can connect with? So I know that for me, if I'm going to work with someone new, I find it quite useful if they have had a video that I can look and go, yeah, I kind of feel like I could get on with this person. It's harder to get that through written text. So I think for me, videos, sharing some more tips and just sharing a little bit more about what's going on in my life throughout this year.
What about you, Laura Bean?
So mine is very much being more consistent with my content. And again,
I love that word.
It's just so I have a process now, which I've, you know, so far, I know we're not even out of January.
She's looking up at her calendar, by the way.
I'm looking at it. I'm really proud of this
calendar up there.
But it's, I'm like, right, I've got a plan, and you know, if I can, well, I'm keeping it up at the moment. I know we haven't finished January yet, but you know, so far so good. But again, and it's all pointing towards a purpose. So everything I'm creating, I'm like, well, what is that going to point towards? That, what is that, you know? And it might be just a bit more relationship building, or it's going to be building my email list is a big one for this year. I want to make sure that I'm prioritizing that over subscribers and likes and stuff. And I'm like, actually what I want is people on my mailing list, so I, you know, can build and nurture better relationships there. So yeah, so my focus is the consistent content that is going to lead to hopefully joining the mailing list or being part of my world at some point.
My world.
And what are you seeing, Emily? What are you seeing? What trends are coming up, do you think?
So there are several. Yeah, I know, because ultimately in the field that we work in, we're working with people who aren't even doing the thing right now. So like then go, and here are the next trends for the next 12 months, and everyone, like, you can see their faces filling with dread. But you know what? There are things coming up that I think we can embrace a bit more and understand. I think for us in the room right now, you would probably appreciate some of them. So I think lots of us have seen, especially on Instagram, like drops in follower numbers this year. They're not as quick and fast coming as they used to be, and that is across the board. And I think actually spending more time nurturing the current audience we've got and looking at more of those like micro communities we have within our follower numbers is really important as well. Not forgetting, but people want those more nurtured experiences and to feel special. So I mean, we've done it. The Digital Circus is its own community. You know, we haven't got thousands in there, in hundreds, but it's about understanding their individual needs and tailoring our content to suit them. So that's a big one. Going back to what Laura said, TikTok, regardless of your thoughts about TikTok is still growing, and it is being seen as the Gen Zs these days use TikTok more as a search engine than they do Google. So it's understanding that these social media platforms are the go-to place for information above the old search engine. So thinking about our content, how we're curating that content and the language we're using, because that content is searchable. And I always like the black and white of searchable on Google. Same thing goes to your captions and the content you're putting in there as well, and the pictures you're putting on with the words on the pictures, that is all still going to be readable as well. So being very mindful of that kind of language we're putting out on socials. TikTok again is, you know, I think they're going for Amazon. They're going for Amazon with their TikTok shopping. So, you know, they are big. It's fast, quick purchases. Whether you believe in those purchases or not, it's not for me to say, but if you're a product-based business and you're thinking about other routes to market with your product, Etsy figures are huge, right? But they're expensive. TikTok's a lot more affordable for a product-based business if you're looking at getting those larger sales quickly as well. So looking at those other platforms that you may not have on your radar is not a bad shout. But as Laura said, having purpose. So there's no point in going to TikTok and going, right, this is going to be me in 2024, and going, I'm just going to scatter some videos I had there a few months ago. Well, maybe they're relevant, maybe they're not, and we'll see how they go. Oh, that one got 1,700 likes, fantastic. What does that mean? No, going with that clear strategy of why what your purpose is, what you're trying to portray. It may not be everything in your business, it might be just a part of your business. Jules from Branding by Jules is an amazing brand designer, and she has just been picked up by Canva in Australia because she's been sharing her Canva tips consistently for the last 12 months, and she's now employed by Canva to do their training, and she's flown out across the world to kind of do that, and that has been purely by having a very clear strategy on sharing one thing on that platform. She does a whole wealth of other things in her branding business. She does a lot of one-to-one and proper design work. That sounds like Canva isn't proper design work, but you know what I mean, in terms of she's got all of that other strings to her bow, but that one platform is defined for that one thing she does, and it's paying dividends now. So having clear understanding why you're on that platform, but don't discount those fun platforms when I'm a LinkedIn stalwart, because you don't know what that opportunity is yet, but you have to give it time and thought and process when you do jump onto those platforms.
Very true. And don't spread yourself too thin.
No.
You know, like you say, you've got to be consistent. You've got to have a strategy, and don't try and do everything at once.
Yeah.
Because you do find that you're going to burn out, and that's no fun for anyone.
No.
So, well, that was brilliant. I think there's lots of really good tips there, lots of really good information for somebody going forward. And thank you, Emily, for joining us.
Pleasure. Thanks. I noticed how you invited me and not Alan on the first one.
No offense, Alan.
Yes,
No
Alan,
offense,
you
Alan.
are due to be on here. We have got a list. You are due.
In 2028.
Yeah. Stay tuned for
Don't
Alan.
say that about your husband.
I can, he's mine.
No, he is on the list, I promise you. We're not going to kick him off. He's there to come on, but we've got other ideas for him.
Love that. Thank you very much for having me. This has been really good fun.